We'd like to thank our sponsors, Ocean Stone Architectural Lighting. Fully customizable track lighting systems for your home, all controlled by an app on your phone. From individual lights to full color spectrum of lights, it's easy to use. You can set timers for special events or seasonal lighting, and what I find really cool are the preset patterns and animation. To get a free quote for your home, go to oceanstonelighting.com.
Welcome to the Quick Tap Rugby Outlier podcast.
I'm Nate Augspurger.
I'm CJ.
I'm Chef Rock.
The podcast that brings you an elite perspective into MLR Rugby.
And welcome to another episode of Quick Tap Rugby Outlier podcast. I'm your host, CJ. We are doing another episode on social distancing. We're doing it from our homes, and we hope everybody's safe. But to join me today practicing social distancing is what? We have the great Nate Augspurger, one of, if not one of the best scrum halves in the MLR. He is also a U.S. Eagle in 7s and 15s and is a San Diego Legionnaire. Woo!
All right, Nate.
Holding it down.
Hold it down. Then we have practicing social distancing. Our other co-host, Chef Rock. He is the host of the Chef Rock television series launching soon on the Roku channel,
That's right.
Amazon Prime, and is a sports nut and a cooking enthusiast and a new. Well, I can't say rugby newbie anymore because you've been doing this podcast for 6 weeks.
That's right.
So
I better know it inside now, right, brother?
Chef Rock.
Thank you. Good to see you guys.
What's going on, gentlemen? How you guys doing today?
We're doing great, man.
Yeah,
I'm great.
fantastic.
I'm great. I got out, got my workout done,
Right.
ready to go. I'm locked in.
How you feeling with the sun shining outside and the anticipation to get back out there? I myself, I'm trying my best to. I look out the window and I go, nah, I can't go out there today. You know what I'm saying? I'm a little scared of the virus, but I've been. I went to the store yesterday. No, it was yesterday on Monday. Yesterday I went to the store, and I try to plan when I walk to the store everywhere I was going to go, so I know exactly where I'm going to go get my stuff. Yeah. And every time I walk down the aisle, someone walk up there. I'm like, damn it, why? Yeah. Got my way. I got a plan.
Well, CJ, somebody's bumping into you, right?
So I get wherever I go, get my stuff, and then I get to the batteries. Damn, the batteries locked up, so I gotta now go get someone to get the batteries.
Oh,
come get the
batteries,
and
touch the button.
Yeah, dude. Then I had this guy. Then I pull into the line. I had this guy right in front of me without a mask on. Everybody had a mask on, and he looks at me and goes, "How you doing today, buddy?"
Did you punch him in the nose?
I want to say, look, I'm doing just fine, homie. Just keep your distance, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
but
that's wild.
Time I'm getting out. Huh?
That's good. I was at Costco a couple days ago, and the place was pretty busy, and everyone just about wearing masks. So I get in line. And they do a nice job there. They have the plastics, the plexiglass screen up, 6 feet. They take all the groceries off, and then they had this guy behind me, and I look. He doesn't have a mask on. He's like 25 years old. So I kind of say in a loud voice, and I got a loud voice.
Right.
I said, "But do you charge extra for people who don't wear masks?" And the guy is starting to give me a look like, "Holy jeez!"
Hey, you got to say something, man. You got to say something.
And he says, "Yeah, we should." And I said, "Yeah, you might want to tag on stupidity as a charge as well." And the guy just gave me a look like he was embarrassed. That's what I wanted to do. I said, "Hey, dude,
absolutely.
Why do you feel like you could be the only one in here without a mask on? You're like a 25-year-old schmutz." So I wanted to pop him, but I got in and out. Whole families, we did a 3-mile walk, me and my wife Janice, 3-mile walk through the neighborhood, walk in the street so to avoid the idiots who are still walking with no mask.
Yeah.
And we're feeling good. I did a 20-pound pork butt the other day for pulled pork. Yeah. So it was awesome. I'm eating it and everything. I'm one of those guys, I eat it with everything. So I made a machaca burrito with it. I put it in a salad. I'm going to do a pho. I'm going to put it in some soup tonight, those little strands of pork.
Chef Rock doesn't play around on the stove top.
Hell no.
Well, now when it comes to food. So what you got going on, Nate? How you been?
Yeah, I've been great. Man. And today I'm looking forward to another episode. I just wanted to take a second to shout out to any of the people that have been listening, who've been commenting, sharing. I've gotten a lot of support from family and friends, both East Coast, West Coast, and in the Midwest. So
nice.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. Today we're going to talk a little bit we have a special guest on here who's specifies in sevens right now. So just for our audience, for any of the new listeners, just to break it down real quick, the rugby that the Legion plays and that the MLR plays is 15 versus 15, which involves 2 40-minute halves. The point scoring for both 7s and 15s is the same. So it's 5 points for a try, 2 points for a conversion, 3 points for a penalty kick or a drop kick. Usually it's 1 game per week. So it's kind of a big buildup, very similar to football, right? You have a whole week, everything, all the efforts and energy goes straight into that. Well, 7s is 7 versus 7, but on the same size field. So a lot more space, a lot more running.
Right.
And it's 2 7-minute halves. So it's like that, and it's done. So mistakes are magnified. The game is very fundamental. It's really fun to watch. It's exciting, and it's easy to catch on. So 15s has some roles that's harder to catch on. 7s is easy. And they play in more tournament style, so they'll play 3 games in a day. So they'll start in the morning, play in the middle of the day, play close to the evening, sleep, come back the next day, do it again. So, pretty grueling, pretty an intense style of play. But we have one of the best in the world at it. Joining us today, we have Danny Barrett, also known as Danny Boom Boom Barrett.
Boom Boom.
Who,
Boom Boom.
This guy, I've been a teammate with Danny for a long time. I got to go to the last Olympics, be with Danny and have him as a teammate. So we're just excited to have him on, and here he is.
Welcome,
Danny Barrett.
Boom, boom.
Man.
What's up, Danny?
Yeah, not much, man. Just staying safe, staying inside, trying to work out, and same old.
Danny's probably got one of the cutest dogs on the planet. That he was it 2016 is when you got Lola, or it was 2015?
It was November 2015.
Because I got to take care of Lola, the sweet girl. She was so skittish of everybody, but she became friends with me because I'm me.
You're lovable.
Yeah, I'm a lovable guy. But
bragging about yourself, homie.
Hey, sometimes you gotta toot it. But no, Danny, we're happy to have you on, man. And just want to start off by asking how quarantine's been going so far, and what's been keeping you busy.
Yeah, man, it's been a long one. I think since after we got home from Vancouver, like the 9th or something in March. And ever since then, it's just kind of been figure it out, hurry up and wait.
Seriously.
But yeah, we've been good. Just kind of hanging out. Started reading some books, not too many books, but a couple books. The dog's gotten me through a lot of it. Lucky my fiance's around, so.
Megan, she's an ex USA Sevens player as well.
Yeah, she's captain 7s and 15s for the USA Women, and now she's a doctor of physical therapy. So working the front lines still, which is pretty good. But yeah, I mean, just kind of working out with her in the garage, running up and down the street, running around at the park with the dog. Not much to do. What's
this thing you're doing with USA Rugby? It's the chow down with one of our fellow Legionnaires, Pat Blair.
Yeah, so we have a, I guess, kind of an 8-week series. It's called Chow Down with the Dogs, and just kind of getting to know us as humans, from us, by us, who we are, and why we are the way we are. Why do I play a certain way? Why? First up is Pat. So Pat's a pretty energetic guy, pretty outgoing human.
Very
being.
Animated.
So who better to start with than Pat? And Pinky and myself will be doing a bit of stuff, and we wanted it to be as genuine as possible. We didn't want someone else coming in asking questions like, let us do it, let us have fun with it, and have it be as authentic and genuine as possible.
I love that, because it's good to have an avenue where you guys can just share your identity and not have a bunch of stuff in the way kind of forcing you to do it. So that'll be fun. I'll definitely be tuned into that. I wanted to ask you, Dan, and I'm sure this is something you guys would probably get into on the Chow Down, is how have you personally internalized, I know what it means and the type of effort and energy and stuff that goes into building up to an Olympics, right? Once every 4 years. This year, you guys even qualified for the Olympics early, so we actually didn't have the same kind of stress, so to speak. But regardless, you guys freaking bust your butts, and now all of a sudden COVID happens and it's getting pushed back a year. Do you think this is going to have, well, for you personally, positive impact, negative impact, or how is the team going to handle it, getting ready for, pushing it back a year and going into 2021?
I think it's been pretty bittersweet for us. We had a few pretty significant injuries over the last kind of 18 months, I'll say, that have kept people out for quite a while. So that buys them time to get healthy and compete. For myself, I mean, you know how I play. It's pretty physical and up front, and I think that's pretty good for my body. But at the same time, I ain't getting any younger, and a lot of us aren't getting any younger. So that does make it pretty tough. But I mean, it's the allure of the Olympics. We're on the cusp of it. Having a global pandemic shut it down, none of us ever could have fathomed that happening. But at the same time, there's
no fingers to be pointed or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes there are fingers and sometimes they're not. But for us, it's just been kind of hurry up and wait. We're waiting to see what happens. I mean, we got back from Vancouver, had a couple weeks off due to Hong Kong, Singapore being pushed. So you kind of knew that something was in the chamber here. And, it was the bullet that we didn't want to get shot. So
hurry up and wait it is, man.
Yeah, hurry up and wait and just kind of let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think
we needed to.
And I agree. I mean, I follow you guys obviously still, even though I'm not involved anymore. And it was kind of, these guys got second in the world last year.
Wow.
Played an amazing level, even had an opportunity to get first throughout the whole season. And then this year we were sixth once the COVID happened, right? We were ranked sixth in the world.
Yeah, I believe so.
So, it's one of those things where I know how you guys are. I know how the environment is. I know how the dogs is what they call themselves, right? Mike Friday and all those guys, they got a saying, they're called dogs. I know how the dogs environment is. And that sixth place would have been below your guys' standards. So for me, it was, as an outsider looking in, I was like, this could be a really good opportunity for some guys to just refresh. Like you said, you got guys like Falau, people who've gotten some injuries who can come back and start making an impact again with a completely fresh start. Mind you, I think most athletes are going to come back dying to just be training. It's like the things that we took for granted when we were healthy and in season and you're kind of worn down and stuff, that will be gone for every single athlete in the world. It's going to be good. It's going to be exciting, So yeah. I'll be pumped for you guys.
Danny, you say that it's a good opportunity for you to get a break on your body. Now, I watched some film on you. You play really, really physical. How long does it take you to get up for after you play one game? How long does it take your body to heal for the next game, or does your body not heal at all and you just keep going through the same process every week?
Yeah, I mean,
every time you play.
So we go, about 2 weeks every month, or 2 weeks every 6 weeks we're playing. We're playing 5 or 6 games in a weekend, right? So you're never actually 100% at any point. From the first game of the first tournament to the last game of the last tournament, you're not 100% at all. And Nate can attest to that. It's tough. It's physically tiring. It's emotionally tiring. It's mentally tiring. And every last bit of it is just miserable for the most part.
Recovery.
Yeah, I think you have that competitive nature.
Right.
I'm out here to do a job, and my job is to win rugby games. And I don't care if you like me. I don't care if my teammates like me. But as long as you guys are helping me get my job done and get our job done collectively, then all right, let's go do it. I'm going to do whatever I have to do in my own power to give my best for you, because I expect the same. And I'll give anything, awesome. Blood, sweat, tears, bones, ligaments, anything to help our team win. So at the end of the day, I mean, I got 2 older brothers. I've been getting my butt kicked my entire life. Yeah. Having a bruise here or there is not going to stop me from playing a game in 3 hours.
It's not a big deal for you, huh?
No, not at all.
Hey, Danny, I got to say something because it's been like I'm like an egg ready to burst in the boiling water. You are a freaking beast. I mean, you earned the name Boom Boom. I watched that video yesterday of you, just all of them, just playing. And I actually wanted to go out and just like take somebody out. I mean, I wanted to go take somebody down. You inspired me. I'm like, I'm 61. I'm not going to get on the field. But you reminded me so much of, like, and I said it to some other guys that have been on, you're like an Earl Campbell. Question is, when you were young, when you were like, say, I know playing with your brothers, you probably guys were just full on, head on, whoever, you know, because I did the same thing with my brothers, more in the football end, you know, Sandlot, like you were saying. But when you were young, like say 12 and 14 playing, and picture yourself now playing, has it really changed? Because I know it has, like in baseball, they don't want the kids to win. They don't want them to steal a base. You know, it's all this everybody wins crap.
Participation.
Yeah, I threw my kid's trophy away. So, you know, you came in last place. You don't get a freaking trophy. Get out of here. So has it changed when you were playing in those leagues, those young leagues, versus now? Are they like really, don't hit them, don't hit so hard, you know, we don't want to hurt them, hurt their feelings? Is it different now?
To me, I don't think so. Because, no. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, we are professional athletes right now.
Right.
But the way I look at the game and I kind of see rugby in general is it's a kid's game. And it always has been a kid's game, and it's always ever going to be a kid's game.
That's a good attitude.
So it's about going out and having fun. And I'm going to do that any way I can, whether I'm 14 or I'm 30. It's about having a good time. You know, if I'm not getting paid, I'd still pull the jersey on, because being able to wear the flag on your chest, on your sleeve, is an absolute honor. I mean, every single day on the training field, on the match field, I mean, it's an honor to do that. But I think as well as rugby's, it's not for the faint of heart. I mean, you're going to come out here and, you know, you're going to take some souls, and that's what you have to do. Like, I'm here to win. I've always wanted to be a winner.
Take souls, bro.
Taking souls.
Wow.
Take a few souls with you.
Telling you. Telling you.
But that's what it's about is, you know, I'm going to get over the line because I'm more physical than you. And I want it more, so I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get there.
I love it when you face plant a guy. I mean, that's freaking beautiful.
Yeah.
The one that they keep showing, the guy in the red jersey. Oh, man.
One of my favorites is Dan, is the Australia final when we won in London.
Yeah.
I mean, that was played. Danny's probably been on Sports Center equally or maybe a few more times than Perry and Carlin, and that's impressive. Because, you know, rugby is not going to be on Sports Center. Like, you know, we haven't got any MLR clips up there yet, which would be cool if that starts to kind of happen. But these are the guys in the sevens circuit have made appearances in Sports Center top 10 and stuff. And Danny would be.
They just got to get my name right next time.
Yeah.
What'd they call you?
They called me Scott Barrett.
Yeah, that's right.
Is there a Scott Barrett? Is there a Scott Barrett?
That's just rugby, man. I swear, that's just rugby.
Is there a Scott Barrett out there somewhere?
Yeah. So there's 3 Barrett brothers that play for New Zealand. Play for All Blacks. One of them's Scott,
and they're all very, very good.
Not nearly as good looking as I am.
I was going to say, you know, you got to stand out of the crowd. You know, you trimmed up the beard.
Yeah.
You know?
I put the hair up for it.
Not nearly as good looking as
I don't know what that
Barrett.
means.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, CJ. Go ahead, CJ.
Have you played against a friend and then gave him one and then said, "Hey, but it's not personal. It's just business," and go have a beer with them later?
Oh yeah. So I played against a kid that I went to high school with my freshman year at Cal. We're playing University of Nevada, Reno. I think the final score was 135-0.
Whoa.
Yeah, pretty tough one, tough weekend.
A lot of lopsided college matches for you guys.
And they kicked off, and I saw my buddy and ran directly at him.
No.
And he likes to tell the story that the first time I broke his nose, and then the second time, like the next kickoff, I reset it. So that was always good. My buddy Tim McDonald from high school.
Hey, so he didn't have to go to the hospital. He did him a favor.
Exactly. Made it easy.
And he has a story to tell his kids.
Yeah.
You know? Hey,
I'm sorry.
that's funny. Speaking of breaks, I'm sure you get this all the time. When you broke your arm, you hit that guy so dang hard, you broke your arm, and then you got up and you tried to tackle a guy with one arm going the other way.
Yeah. So
just a mindset, like feel no pain.
No, I mean, so I didn't break my arm. I turned the lights off on my shoulder, so I kind of messed up a bit.
Jeez.
So I couldn't really move my left arm, and then I got up, and Ben Pinky didn't work hard enough, so I got up and tried to make another tackle.
Fair assessment.
And then I actually broke my hand on that second tackle.
Get out.
So I got, if you can see the scar just here.
Oh, not on, yeah.
Plate in there.
Crazy.
But yeah, I mean, we ended up turning the ball over at the goal line. Carlin made a break. I got up from the trainers, hit the breakdown, and then we scored, and then I came off. That was the the quarterfinal in Vegas, 2019.
Wow. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, so I mean, the big thing is, I mean, I said it before, is I'm going to do what I have to do to help my team win. I mean, if you're going to take me off the field, you're going to have to drag me off the field.
Right. The beast. The beast.
That they'll be like, all right, you can come out now.
Yeah. Hey, I got to throw a little brag in here. You know, my senior year in high school in football, I was a captain, but I played with a broken wrist the whole season. You know, no big deal. I feel your pain, brother.
Yeah, good.
I had a broken wrist. We taped it up like a cast. And every day, you know, every game, a guy knew that I had it on there. He would aim for my freaking wrist with his helmet when I was a runner.
I remember being told that by my dad when I was in high school, and he'd just be like, kind of like warranting, don't tape too much because you don't want people to like see it and try and go after you for it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
It's funny how because that was in rugby and in football. It was just kind of one of those things I was always like, okay, don't tape up this finger. But now now I don't care. It's like, all right, try and break my finger, dude. See what happens. Hey, to keep this moving forward, so Danny went to Cal Berkeley.
Right.
It's one of the best, if not the best program in the States. It's been the best program for a while. And I was fortunate enough back when the collegiate setup, so to speak, was not a bunch of different things going on. I kind of lose track a little bit, if I'm being honest. But back when it was D1 in 2009, freaking University of Minnesota, round 1 drew Cal Berkeley's very own. And we took a pretty good hiding that game. I think it finished like upward 60s or whatever to like 9. We didn't score a try.
Wow.
But Danny was playing. I was playing for the University of Minnesota, and so yeah, we go way back, and we both have a bit of a different collegiate experience. And now the MLR has gone the route of having a college draft. So I kind of wanted to dive into a bit of that. But first off, Danny, if you want to just describe a little bit about your like Cal Berkeley, maybe even CRC experience while you were there, and kind of what the best collegiate program has to offer, so we can just kind of paint that picture for what we're going to talk about the draft.
Yeah. So, I mean, Cal is, in my opinion, and I guess it's a bit of a biased opinion, is the #1 rugby school in the country. I mean, it's as close to a Division I football program as you'll get. You know, we're not entirely funded by the university. We are a varsity program, but at the same time, you know, we look after our own, and you know, we don't maintain any scholarships. We have no players that have received a scholarship. Everyone gets in academically. Some of us need a little more help than others for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, day in and day out, it's very much as close as you can get to a football program as possible. I mean, I knew probably at one point 95% of the football players, and you know, any school you go to, football is the top program on campus, and they were at Cal. But at the same time, They knew to respect
They knew who
us.
you were. Yeah.
Yeah, they knew to
University of
respect
Minnesota
us
football
because,
didn't know who we were.
Yeah, because
yeah.
we were so good. I mean, we lost 5 games in my 5 years.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah.
5 or 6 games in my 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I had 2 older brothers that played there as well. They both won 4 national championships in 5 years. I won 2 national championships and a CRC title. So, I mean, it is rigorous.
And so
you get 5 years of eligibility, or it's still a 4-year eligibility, right?
No, so it's 5 years of eligibility. I guess technically
really?
in NCAA you get 5 years because one of them is the redshirt year.
Yeah.
So as a varsity athlete, you get 5 years of eligibility.
Oh, nice.
So for rugby, since it's not an NCAA sport, you can play your 5 years.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
All right. That's something I didn't know. Yeah.
And the CRC is a collegiate sevens competition that a lot of guys who are on the team now and have gotten looks to be a part of the USA Sevens program have played through that. Nate Ebner played in it with Ohio State the very first year. We got
First
other
2
guys.
years.
The first 2 years. We got other guys that have represented for both 15s and 7s that have played in it. So you're kind of starting to see that there's a little bit of a pathway or avenue, right, to getting us to the next level, which back when Danny was, we didn't have professional rugby, right? So it was to get to the international team. And now that we have the MLR Collegiate Draft, it's pretty exciting and it's a pretty interesting deal. So just to throw out a couple things about the MLR Collegiate Draft in similarities to maybe other professional leagues like football and stuff, it's 3 years of eligibility. So you have to play college for 3 years to declare for the draft. You had to have played 12 months prior. So if you graduate, you have like a year to enter the collegiate draft, and then you got to be 21 years old. So they're trying to set some precedents, just like the other leagues, to encourage kids to still go to university, still allow themselves to grow. You know, from 18 to 21, the amount of physical growth you can have is really
enormous.
big, really important, right?
Yeah, it's enormous. Yes.
Let alone the skill development and stuff. The difference is that the MLR Collegiate Draft is a draft and follow. So if a player is drafted, the team that drafted them actually has a year to track them and figure out, all right, do we want to offer this guy or do we need him right now? Which is kind of interesting because I think that's where it opens up, hopefully, avenues for these guys who maybe get drafted and they're with an MLR team. Hopefully during that year, they can go find whatever rugby they need, whether it's club, whether it's sevens tournaments around the country or even around the world, to go get experience and get an opportunity to play and prove themselves. So it's kind of an interesting deal. Draft to follow is what they're calling it. There's only U.S.-based collegiates, so you can't be in a college overseas, not even Canada, which obviously we have a Canadian team in our league. You don't lose eligibility because you declare for the draft. So if you were not to get drafted, you could still play your 4th year or 5th year of eligibility in college and kind of continue to develop. So that's good. And D1A, so there's a lot of, like I said, there's Division I, which makes things really clear, but we have D1A, which is kind of like a higher level. And then there's varsity. Is Varsity Cup a thing still, Danny? Or
no, I think it's
all D1A now?
It's D1A and D1AA.
Okay.
It's like FBS and FCS almost.
Right. But apparently it said on the website for the MLR that D1A players will be eligible to train with MLR teams for a month from December to January and from June to August. So that kind of gives them an opportunity to be in their college, but also still training or getting exposure to what the MLR teams have to offer. And then the last thing that I'll throw out there before we can kind of open this up a little bit and get into the nitty gritty of maybe the bigger scheme is if you're eligible to declare for the draft, but you choose not to, you cannot play until 1 year after. So that's interesting. But if you declare and go undrafted, you can still join the league. So if you're undrafted, you're like, whatever, I can still compete and try and get signed by an MLR team. But if you don't declare at all, so really what they're trying to do is push people to declare for the draft, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't declare, then you got to wait a whole nother year before you can actually declare and then try and get into the league. So those are kind of the main bits of it. And I think it's something to be excited about. If I was in college right now, and that's regardless of whether you're Division 1A or AA, like you do have a real opportunity to develop yourself and get into a position where you could be a part of this league. And I think that's great. Danny, do you have any insight on kind of how you think the collegiate draft affects the greater scheme of things here in America?
No, I think it's a really good thing for the sport and for high school and college kids to aspire to. I also think that the timing might be a little off, as in it might be a little too soon, because a lot of it is you don't know where you're going. You get a college kid that comes out at 21, and we say college kid for a reason, because we're all still kids at 21, and I think that having that be the first thing you do. And remember, I haven't played in the MLR, so I don't know anything about, the backroom
setups,
stuff. I don't know anything, just from what people have told me word of mouth. So in my mind, I think it is kind of a bad time, as in, is this kid going to get paid for an entire year when he joins the team? Like, is he going to have to move to a new city and then find a job for 6 months? And how much are teams able to work with them on that kind of thing? But I think what it's doing in a pathway perspective is phenomenal. I think people need to know that there is some sort of direct line that I can follow to get into professional rugby. And just like a college kid is, I'm preparing for a college football kid, I'm preparing for the NFL draft. And now these college rugby guys can say, you know what, I'm going to college because I know that's how I get to professional rugby. And professional rugby is how I get to international rugby. From my side of things as well, is I don't want kids to only play one code.
Yeah.
I want you to play 15s and 7s, because for me, 7s made me so much of a better 15s player, because you had to learn how to defend a bigger space and all the technical aspects of it, right?
Right.
So I would hate to see that impact the national 7s program as well, and kind of club national 7s program stuff, just because it is a very, very good way to learn the game and to move the game forward. So, this is me being stubborn and protective of the form that I play.
You're representing what you know, though, and that's all. That's all good.
CJ, you got something?
So Nate, is there going to be a sliding pay scale if they're forcing you to sign into the draft? So is there going to be a sliding pay scale? Obviously from 1 to 8 or 1 to 10 as you draft. So if it's going to be the same pay scale, then I see Danny's point, because then you get pigeonholed into a situation where if you're a better player, you might be able to still in the international team or go somewhere else and play. And if you have to go someplace like, just hypothetically, Iowa City, who I go to Oklahoma City. I'm sorry, and you don't who in Oklahoma City, down there by yourself, and you have to get a job to stay there. So it's interesting. I mean, I kind of like the concept, because that's the way you kind of move the sport along. You get kids excited. You get kids to play more in college and more in high school and stuff like that, and to get drafted in the sport. I mean, it's WNBA, women's basketball. That's women used to go overseas to play, but now they're able to get drafted here. It's a big deal for them. They're super excited because they watch the NBA players get drafted. So I can see that being good for young college students who feel like they want to get drafted. But without a sliding pay scale to be 1 through 8 or 1 through 10, it was hard. It'd be hard pressed for me to support that in a way that, that I kind of agree with Danny on that one a little bit.
Yeah,
I think it's good. I think it's good and bad. Yeah.
I think well, MLR contracts apparently were, and I don't know the specifics of it, were very close in the way they're put together as the D League in NBA.
Right.
So that we're actually, and this might be a conversation for another time, but we have the United States Rugby Players Association, which is new, that's come up, that's actually trying to get involved with MLR, because that would be something that can protect some of these guys for when they do, like you say, if they choose to go in the draft. Yeah, like if they get drafted to go to frickin' Austin versus living in Southern California, no offense, Austin, but like, you know, they're going to have to go there. They're going to have to go there. And then they're going to have to stick with, you know, what the contract have to offer, which is either associates pay, which is hourly, or a salary pay, which is, it's still not necessarily enough money. So what you'll notice though is, and the good owners around the league, is they have things in place to support players because they know that they can't make enough just coming there to play rugby. And so I'd imagine that these college guys are going to get blended into like, it's going to be kind of like an academy sort of year for them. And it's like, well, if they're willing to put in the time for that year and kind of stick with the money, then hopefully there's something on offer for them after that. But it'll be interesting to see. This has been this is a part of a greater topic, hot topic of, you know, USA Rugby going bankrupt, trying to figure out what the best pathways, the best structures are to becoming a tier 1 nation that has great 15s program, great 7s program, great opportunities for people to play professionally and focus on their rugby. So it's definitely a changing, a very fluid situation right now. And for me, when I think about that, and Danny, I'll have you chime in here because I like how you take an opinion. This is why I want to have Danny on the show. See, I know my man. But for me, a lot of this stuff comes down to like, who does it serve? Because if college only serves the university, it's not working in our rugby community, right? The collegiate, everything needs to go like top to bottom, bottom to top. So all the clubs, the youth that play in their clubs, all the way up to men's, need to be need to be served by collegiate programs, MLRs, academies. You know, all these things need to tie in together. So for me, that's when I think about it, I'm just like, who does the MLR draft serve? Well, it's going to serve universities, which is really good, right? It's going to serve universities. How deep and how much back and forth does it go? Does it serve the USA Sevens team? Some might argue it doesn't. So I don't think we have the perfect thing set up, and it's going to be really hard. Especially, you gotta remember, New Zealand's one of the best countries in the world at rugby. They have I don't know the percentage, but they have a very, very small population compared to what the Americas are, and us trying to organize and get everything going together. So, Danny, you want to shed any light on kind of that? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of it's a very loose question. I might get you for a loop here, but
no, I think I agree. I mean, there's so many different ways you can talk about it, right? And so many different ideas that everyone can come up with, you know, sitting on a stool somewhere talking with their buddies. The way I look at it is, you know, how can we create an academy system? So if you look at the Premiership in England, you know, they don't do a draft. So my question is, are we doing a draft because that's an American way of doing things? Or is that the best case for us to move the game forward? I think if you set up an academy system, it does start kids a lot younger at, 18, 19, but you can always put caps on things, right? I think that, not saying the draft's a bad idea, but even with having a draft, almost having an academy system, kind of a minor league baseball-esque.
Yeah.
I know that is a long way off from what can be paid for and what can be financially sustainable for the league as a whole. But I think, we're trying to continue to grow. But if you have a kid that, say he's a 21-year-old kid, a 20-year-old kid, like one of us coming out of college, if we're not playing every day for the Legion, can you send me down to Ombak and loan me to Ombak for the weekend?
Right.
Or loan me to, the San Diego.
Or an academy, if they have an academy. Because I do think universities, like collegiate and academy, can both still exist. And it probably should exist, right? Because just like you're saying, there's got to be a pathway for guys who maybe aren't going to go to college.
Yeah.
But they love rugby and they want to play it. So that's when they get into the academy system and go from there.
I think another cool thing that would, I think, work really well and something that all the MLR teams can do is partner with the local clubs around them. What's stopping, the Seattle Seawolves from partnering with any of the local clubs in the Pacific Northwest to say, hey, we have 40 guys on roster, only 25, right? Because you'll probably have 2 guys in case someone gets hurt in a game day warm-up. So we got another 15 players that we need to get minutes. Can we send them out to, Orsu down in Portland? Can we send you 3 guys? Can we send 3 guys over to Idaho? Can we send 3 guys, somewhere else in Washington or even up to Canada? And
right.
Say,
or like this fall,
we need to develop.
This fall, currently with the status now, this fall it'd be all right. There's going to be club teams having a competition in the fall. Are we sending our guys who haven't been able to play now for 6-7 months? Are we sending them to the clubs to be in a competition that's going to have hopefully other MLR guys and they play in that? I think a lot of this goes without saying, there's a lot of insurance and stuff that gets this real murky. But I'll speak to this though, Dan. And like you said, you go off hearsay. San Diego does have a good relationship with the San Diego teams, with the Aztecs, with Ombak, where when we've had injuries, we've been able to actually go to those clubs and rely on those guys. And then we'd also have, preseason trainings with them where we actually need bodies to go against. Yeah. But the idea is, like I said, who do we serve? The idea is that we're going to help them by coaching a little bit, by having a training session together for their season. I think Ombak was actually winning the Pacific Coast Premiership this season, and we had a couple of their guys join in with us. But those guys join on associates, and it's like hourly. So
but it kind of works both ways. With it's kind of an amoeba here, right? You got to have things coming in and out.
Yep.
So the Legion is serving the universities, but they're also serving the clubs because we can't let club rugby die.
No, it can't.
So especially in the bigger areas, you have a kid now that comes in that didn't go to college and he goes and plays for Ombak, and then he scrimmages in a preseason scrimmage against the Legion, and Testy or Rob or someone or whoever.
Yep.
That's the kid. Why don't we have him?
Right.
And that kind of opens it up.
For sure.
If you're a European player, I know you're itching to get a question in, Chef Rock. And if you're a European player and you're not playing college here, can you still come and sign the MLR, or do you have, because you can't be drafted? You said in the process you have to be an American player, right, to be drafted. So can a European player come in and just sign with any team, or is there?
I was looking at that, and no, it's only U.S. collegiate players that declare for the draft. A collegiate player from another country could just say, like, hey, I want to play in the MLR and try and get picked up. But they wouldn't declare for the draft. Okay. I think that's the big thing is, like, when you declare for the draft, it's a pretty center-focused direction that you are now going to take to try and get into the MLR.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Chef. I'm sorry.
Hey, Dan, the man. Got a question for you. Dan, the man.
Let's go, Chef.
Boom, boom. Question. After this next Olympics finishes up and you guys win the gold.
Are you stealing my last question? Oh, my
I don't know. I don't have your paper in front of me. Well, maybe it is. Will you come down and play for the MLR?
Yeah, come play for Legion.
Play for Legion.
Would you? Yeah, go, Danny. I want to hear the answer to this. You're on the spot.
Come on, boys.
Time will tell.
Yeah?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, Well, sevens has been good to me. It's done a lot of really good things. So as of right now, our plan is to play sevens until I'm done, until I don't.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And then
I love that.
we'll see where we go from there.
The one thing I'll give you there, Dan, and Ma was kind of talking about it on our episode earlier, is the growing up to become an All Black and stuff, how like the values of being an All Black is kind of rooted all the way down to when they started as kids, right? And there's like, we've done pioneers for the sevens team. Mm-hmm. We've done a lot of things over the last 4 or 5 years, or at least since I've been involved. There's been a lot of things that we've been trying to change for American rugby to be better and have an identity that's ready and willing to take the step towards being tier 1. And I'll just say that, having guys like Danny who are willing to stick around and put out for their country every last blood, sweat, tear, drip, whether that's on the field or off, those are the kind of people that are going to write the story for what American rugby is going to turn into down the road. And it's real special to have a guy like Danny. And, regarding you joining the MLR, outside of joining it and talking a couple years down the road, just as a spectator, have you been enjoying having, games to go to in San Diego? We see sevens guys at the games all the time when they have free time. Have you been enjoying it?
Yeah, definitely. I'm pretty good friends with Zach. We were roommates for a long time. So I've actually really enjoyed watching his career change and blossom and really go from, being what I likened him to, the Michael Jordan of sevens rugby in the U.S. So being able to watch him go from an athlete to a pretty darn good coach as well has been pretty awesome. And seeing how you guys play and knowing that Zach had a part in that, but also seeing how many people show up to those games and, never really thinking that, a professional rugby league in America, like no one even knows what rugby is. But a lot of those people are new fans. And that's exactly what we as professional rugby players are striving to do is get new audience and new eyes on what we love, because there's a reason we fell in love with it. And there's going to be a reason why everyone else falls in love with it. So yeah, I think it's just fantastic where you have so many people out there. Watching the final last year was great. Yeah. Hard done, but hopefully 2021 is the Legionnaire. Where Megan and I are Legionnaires, that's for sure.
All right.
Ooh.
Well, Nate, I'm sorry, I'm not Nate. I mean Danny. That's the reason why we created this podcast. That's why we created this platform, to give Nate an opportunity to tell people who are not rugby fans new rugby fans about the game, and to bring people like yourself on and talk about rugby and talk about Olympic rugby, and all the things that encompass rugby and make it a good game. Now, I'm learning a great deal about rugby just by watching the guests that come on the show, and watch Nate, and then watching some players, and then study them for these interviews. I've learned a great deal. So that's what we create this podcast for. We're so happy that you came on the show, man. We hope you come back, and you're now part of the Rugby Outlier podcast family. And any parting word from the rest of you guys? But I want to say, man, thank you very much, and you're welcome to come back anytime.
Yeah, thank you very much,
Danny. We appreciate it, man. We know you probably get a lot of requests out there, and but don't you? Yeah, I don't know.
No, this has been a pretty good breakup of my quarantine Tuesday.
Oh, that's good. Well, we're happy that we're part of your quarantine. It's all great, and thanks to Nate, and CJ, for giving you guys a platform. I played football my whole, since I was a kid through high school and even a little bit in college. But this is the part of the show that we give Chef Rock an opportunity to talk about his past. So go ahead. No, there was no past.
I'm just kidding.
CJ can reach you. No, it's just one of those things. I actually used to go watch on back play when I first moved out here down to Robb Field, and I'd watch the games. I lived at Ocean Beach at the time, and I would watch those games, and I actually loved watching the game because it was a lot more physical than football. because there was no breaks. You guys just kept going and going and going. And I go, man, these guys are real athletes. And then, of course, Ambach always had massive parties during the summer. So I knew a lot of the guys. And I will tell you one quick story. A friend of mine was having a birthday party in Pacific Beach where I lived at the time. We go to the party. I don't know, there's like 100 people there. All of a sudden, I turn around, and this guy just punches me right in the face. Next thing I know, I got a pileup of like 20 guys on top of me. My brother's pulling somebody out, popping. Then I find out it was the LA Rugby team. It just felt like punching the biggest guy in the room. The guy just took me to cold-cock me, and I said, oh, these are pretty tough bastards, man. We all scrubbed, but it was good. Crossfire. I thought the guy was going to ask me a question, and that was the left hook, the left freaking hook. But anyway, but that was my first time I actually spoke with a rugby player.
Party horse thing.
Like it. But thank you for coming out, Dan the man.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, Dan, loved having you on, man. It's the good part about when I have guests is I get to catch up with guys a little bit and just, it's been quiet, it's been lonely times, but Dan, it's been awesome having you on. Obviously, I can't wait for rugby to start back up, and I'm so excited for your guys' build up to 2021. And for the show, man, what these guys might not know is a guy named Dr. Dano.
Oh boy!
And I was wondering if we could get a little sign off from Dr. Dano here.
Let's see.
His wrestling ego.
Let me see.
Oh, the hair. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Come on, give it to us for real. It's gonna be good.
Oh boy, we're losing it. You can check in, but you can't check out.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Love it, man.
Awesome.
I love it.
All right.
Awesome. Quick tap out, baby boys.
Yeah.
Quick tap
Awesome,
out.
guys.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.